All right, welcome back to another episode of Cooking with a Veteran. I'm your host, Dave Rogers, and today I'm going to be making sausage and peppers, Italian style, or at least Italian style how I learned it. Someone commented to me, they said, if I had done this, I would have done it that way. And that's the one thing about my show. Like when I'm doing the show, I always tell people, if you want to add a different ingredient or if you don't want to add an ingredient that I added, that's up to you. You know, it's your choice. I'm just sharing the recipes that I learned over my, 30 something years of living on my own and taking care of myself. All right, so let's get into sausage and peppers. Of course, we're going to start with some nice sausages. I got these from the local Italian store. I have a mixture. I have a hot, I have a fennel, and I have a sweet. And I have a sweet with cheese. Wanted to mix it up some, add a little bit of flavor. You know me, I like to mix different things up. We of course got our bell pepper, got some ginger, de-skinned this time. It's an Italian meal, not an Asian dish or one of my specialties. I got my garlic cloves, got a little bit of green onion. I got a red pepper, I like it a little spicy, you know that. I'm not just going to add white onion, I have the white onion. I'm also going to add a little bit of shallot to it. I've got my tomato that I'm going to crush up. I've got my red wine, and I have my seasoning. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my pepper, and you notice I'm cutting along the sides here, okay, because what I want strips of pepper. Okay, if you ever had a really good sausage and pepper, they're made with strips. I don't know why, but for some reason it just tastes better that way. And I'm back to using my knife, which, I love to cut things. Someone said to me, they said, I don't see you using your Serbian knife. I still have my Serbian knife. I love this thing. Unfortunately, it's a little dull right now, and I realized I cannot find my knife sharpener. So I have to go out and buy another knife sharpener. So this is, if you want to know where I learned this dish, I actually learned this dish when I was pretty young. Growing up in New York City, the city was my playground basically, and I used to hang out a lot in Little Italy and Chinatown, and I learned how to make this from this Italian family I knew down in Little Italy. Alright, so the onion calls for like 1 to 2 medium or small white onions. I'm again using just part of my Spanish onion, and like I said, I'm doing that because I'm going to cut my shallot in half. I'm going to use a shallot, and I'm going to cut that into strips also. And take my green onion, and a good way to cut green onion is to cut them at the same length a couple of times, or cut a bunch of them together. So this way they don't spread all over the place as much. My ginger, and again I peeled my ginger this time, but I'm still going to leave it pretty big. Alright, I want nice flavored chunks of ginger. And that's more of a personal thing. If you want to, you can go ahead and you can get the minced ginger and garlic. It's up to you. So same thing with my garlic. I'm going to cut them into bigger pieces. And it's great about this meal. Again, this is one of those one-pot meals, okay? Unless, of course, you're going to cook some pasta to put it over, or you can toast up some bread and put it as a sandwich, okay? This is a great meal year-round. It serves really well for all kinds of weather and occasions. Now I'm going to do my red pepper, and again, and I'm not going to put a lot of the red pepper. I like spicy food, but I want to not have it too spicy. I do have a spicy pepper in there, and I'm going to add some other stuff to add some nice kick to it, as I like to call it. Alright, so I got my red peppers, and so here are my vegetables all ready to go. Alright, before I get my vegetables going, I'm going to take my tomato, and I'm using a beef tomato, a beefy tomato, because to me that really holds the flavor a lot better. Now the recipe calls for a can of crushed tomato, and if you want to go out and buy a can of crushed tomato, you can. To me, like I said, the beefy The beef steak tomato works. I don't know why I couldn't think of that name. Works really, really well. And I'm going to use all of this. All right. I like a nice tomato base kind of for my sauces and peppers. I got my tomatoes here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my seasoning now into my vegetables here. So I'm going to add a little bit of pepper. I'm going to add some salt. My adobo, you know, I like using the adobo. My mixture, if you watched my episode that I did, I made a mixture of oregano, thyme, parsley, rosemary. Okay, kind of like that song, Parsley, Rosemary, and Thyme. All right. So I got that in there. I'm going to use a little bit of crushed red pepper because, like I said, I really like to get that going. All right, so I'm going to put these to the side. I'm going to start heating up my pan over there. Like I said, I learned this down in near Little Italy. I'm going to take I got my pan heating up. I'm going to put my olive oil. This is my extra virgin olive oil that I'm using here. All right. And now I'm going to throw in my peppers, my onions, my garlic, my ginger, and I'm going to get that going. And again, this is something, you know, you don't want to overcook them, okay? You want them just to start getting a little translucent when you put the sausage in, okay? And this is something that doesn't take a long time to cook, which is great. So, you know, I've been cooking a lot these last couple of weeks, you know, with all the cases of COVID going up. I kind of been staying at home as much as possible, not going out too much during the holiday season right now. Can't wait to get back out there. But in the meantime, it gives me lots of time to cook and, well, clean. Cooking obviously is my favorite part of the show. Cleaning, not so much. And when you're cooking every day, you have to clean every day. All right, so these are starting to go. And if you can smell that, it smells wonderful. Okay, just look at these peppers and onions. All right, now that they're starting to go some, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put in my sausage. And you notice I put the sausage in whole. And, you know, that's really up to you. You don't have to put them in whole if you don't want to. You can cut them up some. But I like to put them in whole, and then if I want to cut them up later, it's easier to cut, okay? Instead of just, you know, cutting them in pieces first, all right? I like them to cook in their skin. And what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to brown them some. I'm not going to cook them all the way. Because remember, in a lot of my dishes that I make like this, I go ahead, I brown the meat about halfway or 3/4 of the way, and then I add my sauces, and then I let it sit for a while and slowly simmer on the stove top. And by cooking them halfway, what that does is it allows the meat to absorb the seasoning, but it also reduces the cooking time. You know, so like when I was making my beef stew, by browning the beef some first, instead of just sticking it in the stew, it cooked in half the time. So, you know, the other reason I like cooking a lot of meals like this, and the stews and everything else that I cook, is that, like I said before, I don't have a microwave. So I like to cook meals that I can reheat either in my oven, I have a little toaster oven, or in my pot. Okay, something that makes it easier to cook up. All right, so you can see the sausage is coming along nicely. All right, it's almost halfway there. All right, this time I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add in my tomatoes. I'm going to add in a little bit of my tomato paste, half a cup of, well, more like a cup of red wine, and a little bit more of my Italian-based seasoning. I'm going to mix this together. I'm going to turn this on low. I'm going to cover this, and I'm going to let this slow simmer for about 30 to 35 minutes. Hope you enjoyed joining us on this episode of Cooking with a Veteran. If you like our episodes, make sure that you like and share below. And as always, if there's something you'd like to see me cook, go ahead and reach out to me. Until next time, hoorah!